What's up, guys? Welcome to another tutorial. In today's episode, we're going to add in AI patrolling, health, damage, and respawn. We're also going to add in player health, damage, death, and respawn, and we're also going to set up working health bars. The project files are going to be available on Patreon if you would like to get those. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, you want to set up a AI folder. I've already done that. Just go to your content folder, right click, new folder, create your AI folder, any animations you want to use. These are all in place animations. They're just regular UE animations that come with UE. So we're going to set up the AI character to be able to move and stuff, so we're going to use those animations and get the AI character set up to move first. So we want to go to our combat folder. We're going to get our AI blueprint character that we made. Just move that over to our AI folder. Right click the content folder, fix up redirectories. That way it fixes everything, and go ahead and save that. Let's go ahead and open up our AI character. We're going to go ahead and we need to fix the character. This is something I noticed. Need to rotate him. Let's see, nope, -90. So that he's facing the right direction. And then we're just going to kind of move him out over here. Alright, and first we're going to go ahead and add in our nav mesh. So click on your quickly add to project. Now we're going to go down to volumes, nav mesh bounce volume. Alright, so volumes. Okay, and then we just want to bring that up. And I'm going to lock the scale. I'm just going to set this to 20. It's going to be pretty big. We can unlock the scale. Maybe set this to 10. We'll do 15. If you hit P, click off of it, hit P. Now that's going to highlight where you can actually be at. 25. Let's do 10 on the, oh, 20 on that one. We'll do 10 on that one. And just go ahead and save that. So this nav mesh is where our AI is going to be able to move. We can lower the height down. Let's do 5. Lower that. There we go. So that nav mesh is where our character is going to move, our AI character, so we can save that. And we're going to go ahead and get the patrolling set up first. So we want to go to our AI character, just go to the event graph. And we want to do begin play. So event begin play. And off of here, we're going to do a delay, just 0.2. And then right click, do a custom event. Call this AI patrol. going to do drag off delay. We're going to do AI patrol call function. All right, and then from our AI patrol, we want to get our character movement. We want to set our max speed here, our max walk speed. So just set max walk speed. We're going to do 175 on this, and you can change this for running and stuff like that as well. We're just going to get this variable set up that way. And then from here, we're going to do AI move to. And the pawn is going to be reference to self. And our destination, we're going to get random reachable point in radius. And our origin, we want to get actor location. And then we're going to set our radius to 2000. And our acceptable radius on our AI move to, we're going to set that to 120. So this is the radius of the area that the character can move to. This is going to be the furthest distance that the character moves when it moves. So 120 is what I set that to. It's pretty decently far. I mean, you can adjust these however you want. And then after that, we want to set a delay on success. We want to set another delay. That way when it moves, it'll stop and wait before it moves again. And we're going to do a random float in range off of this. We'll do minimum 1.0, maximum 4.0. Compile and save that. And then after that, we want to go ahead and call the AI patrol function again so that it goes back into patrol after it stops. And we can go ahead and save that. Now we need to set up our animation blueprint and stuff. We didn't do any of that in the last episodes, so we're going to go ahead and right click in our AI. We're going to create a new animation blueprint, use the SK mannequin skeleton. I'm going to call this a main AI ABP. And then we're going to right click, go to animation, legacy, blend space 1D, select the SK mannequin skeleton again, main AI BS, and go ahead and open up that blend space. We're going to name our horizontal axis to speed, and we're going to set the maximum to 600. And then we want to take our idle, drop that in at 0. Our walk, we want to drop that in, go ahead and click on that. We want to set that to 175. So that's going to be our max walk speed. Go ahead and drag our drop in at our jog in at 600. All right, and then you can save that. We're going to add a little bit of smoothing time, lose 0.2. I'm going to change this to cubic. All right, so now we got the blend space set up. We need to get the animation blueprint set up. So we're going to go ahead and in the anim graph, make state machine. I'm going to rename this to locomotion. I'm going to do a default slot and then set that to the output post. Go ahead and double click our state machine. We're going to add a state. It's going to be our idle. Add another state. It's going to be our moving. We're going to drop our idle in the idle. Make sure that's loop animation is ticked on that. Set one back, drag one from moving to idle also. Moving, we're going to drag that blend space in, and we're going to connect that blend space. So now we don't have our speed variable yet. So we need to go to our event graph. And from our, take this try get pawn owner, move it up. We're going to create a blueprint initialize animation. We're going to cast to AI. We're going to connect to get pawn owner to the object. We're going to right click as AI. We're going to promote that to a variable. And we're going to rename that to AI reference. And then from that, we want to get our character movement. Gonna have to go all the way to the bottom if you type it all the way out. And then we're gonna right click and promote that to a variable as well, and connect that to the AI reference, and you can compile that. And then down here, we want to get our AI reference. I'm gonna right click, convert to validated get, and we're going to connect that. And then we're going to create a sequence. May not necessarily need to do this, but just so you can build on it further down the line. We want to get let's rename this character movement. We're going to name it AI character movement. That way it's specific to the AI. Go ahead and get that, and then we're going to get velocity. It's going to be all the way at the bottom. Then we're going to get vector length, and we're going to promote that to a variable, and we're going to call that speed. I'm just going to stack these on top of each other here, like so, and clean this up. And we'll connect that to the then one, and you can compile that. Then we can go back to our moving state, and we can connect our speed variable up to that blend space. And then go back to our locomotion. So you can just click right up here at the top where it says locomotion, it'll take you back. And our transition, we want to double click that. We're going to get our speed. And if that is greater than 0.1, then we're going to go into moving. And go back to locomotion, and from moving to idle, we're going to get our speed again. And if it is less than 0.1, actually let's do equal to. We'll just do equal to 0. All right, and then so we need to set our animation blueprint. So go into our AI. We're going to change that to main AI blueprint, and we can compile and save that. Now he should move around. And he's just going to move around to random points on the map. So you set the distance to 120. That's a pretty good little distance there. And he just turns and moves on. So, and just to make sure it turns smoothly, we want to click on our AI itself, go to controller, and make sure use controller desired rotation is ticked off. So now our AI is roaming around. We can still attack it, target lock it. One thing I did want to do also is we need to go to the collision, and we're going to set this to custom. And for pawn, we're going to overlap the pawn. And we need to set that in our actual third-person character as well. We want to overlap the pawn. Block the vehicle. Don't worry about vehicle. All right. And that should fix the issue that we were having with when you were attacking. It would launch you or the character. Now you should be able to attack without any issues. Let's actually go ahead and change the AI's health real quick. Let's change that to 10. Actually, let's go ahead and set that to 100 because that's gonna be our next step. We're gonna start setting up the health and the UI and stuff. So we'll set that to 100. That way we can attack a few more times. I would advise to get some running animations put in for your attacking if you haven't. Because he's going to be moving. But now you can just keep on attacking. And see, it's not going to launch you up in the air when you attack him. Yeah, I need to put that as can't step up on as well. That was one other thing. Can't step up on, no. Okay. This should be on custom. Why didn't that set correctly? Because he was still... He shouldn't be able to walk through. So we accidentally changed the capsule. That one can just be pawn. If you change that, we don't want to change the capsule collision. That's why he was walking through. So now should stop. Yep, there we go. And now when we attack him, yeah, now we don't pop up and he won't pop up and give us weird reactions. All right. And we can get rid of these print strings. We don't need these anymore. Go ahead and get rid of that. Connect that true to the execute there. And compile and save that. And I think the other one was down in the attack, yeah. Go ahead and connect that to the play attack montages. Compile and save. All right, so next thing we're going to jump into is going to be probably... We can do the AI. Let's do the AI health first. We'll just get all the AI set up first. So what we're going to want to do is go to our AI folder. Now we're going to create a... Actually, no, let's go to the content folder. We're going to create a new folder. We're going to call it UI. Go ahead and open that. Right click. We're going to go to user interface and widget blueprint. We're just going to use a common user widget. And we're going to call this WB AI health bar. Go ahead and open that up. We don't need our third person character right now, so we can close that. We're going to need a canvas panel. So type in canvas panel, drag that down over the WB AI health bar so that it connects to it. And then we're going to need a progress bar, and we're going to drop that onto the canvas panel. Click on the progress bar. You can rename this to AI health progress. We'll just call it AI health bar. All right, and then over here on the right side, we're going to go to the anchors, and we can just anchor this in the center, and then we're going to zero out the X and the Y position, and we're going to make this 100 by 20. And we'll go ahead and center it. Let's do -50 in this one. That should center that. And this one should be -10, should be the center. And we can compile and save that. You could also, if you want to add the text in, we'll go ahead and do that too. Go ahead and add text. And we're going to just drop that on the canvas panel. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set the anchor to the center. Set the position to 0 and 0. Position to 0 and 0. Then we're going to shrink that text down, but we're going to change the text block to, say, 100. And our font, hit the down arrow, and we're going to change the font size to 10. And we're just going to drag that into where it looks like it's in the center. All right, and then we're going to leave the color of the text to white. Go ahead and click on your AI health bar. Fill in opacity. We're going to set that to red. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's go up to the style. We're going to set the background image. We're not going to change the image, but we're going to change the tint. We're going to change that to red and then a dark red. This is going to be the underneath part, so the background. And then our appearance, or fill image, we're going to set that to actual red. And then you won't be able to see that until you move this progress percentage up. So as you move your percentage up to 1, which is 100, and then down to 0. So we'll set that up to 1. We're going to go ahead, click on bind, and we're going to create a binding for that. And then we're just going to create a variable. Call this AI health. change that to a float. We're going to go ahead and drag that in and get that. And then we're just going to divide by 100. Now you can create another variable that's max health and divide that by the max health here if you want to do that. Just now for normal AI, we're just going to set that to 100. And that's going to set up our health bar progress. So, and then we also want to go back to our designer. So up here at the top, you can click designer. That's going to take us back into our UI designer. We also want to do that on our text as well. So go to your content text where we put it to 100, and we're going to create a binding. And this one we're going to get AI health. We're going to clamp float, and min's going to be 0, max is going to be 100. So this is going to clamp our text to 0 and 100. And then from that, we're going to do a toText float. And then from that return, we're going to format text. And then we're going to disconnect that. Here in the format text section, you're going to do shift and the bracket. So like the squiggly bracket with the point on it. And then we're going to do X. And then we're going to close with the same squiggly bracket. And then hit enter. That's going to create the format and the X pin. We're going to connect that return value to the X pin. And we're going to connect the result to the return value. So this is what's going to set up our format for our health to decrease. So and then now we need to go back to our AI. We're going to go back to our event graph. And from our event begin play, we're going to do a sequence here. Go ahead and add another pin because we're going to need another pin also before we're done here. Go ahead and line those up and move them up some so we have room. From our then one, we're going to cast to WB AI health bar. All right, and then we need to add our health bar to our character, also our widget. Did forget to do that. So we're going to add a widget. We're going to call this health bar. Go to our viewport, and we want to drag that up. And compile that. Nope. Need to get user widget object health bar. Forgot to finish this part. That's all right. And then our as WB AI health bar, we're going to promote that to a variable. We'll just leave that name the way it is. And then from here, we're going to set AI health. Go ahead and connect that. And then our our health here that we had already created, we can go ahead and rename that actually to AI health. We're going to connect that to the AI health pin. We're going to put a little b in the front of that just in case. We don't want any conflicts. Oh, that doesn't do that. Okay. We should be all right. And then we need to set our widget class. So go ahead and click on your health bar. Set that to screen. And then we need to select our widget class. It's going to be our WB health bar. Compile and save that. Now we should see that over the AI's head. And we haven't set up the damage to work yet, but that is visible over the head now. And what we want to do now is set it up so that it's not always visible. We only want it visible when we get within a certain distance. So how we're going to do that is we're going to add a sphere collision to our AI. And we're going to call this health bar view radius. I know that's a big one, but and we're going to set the health bar view radius to 800. And then we can compile and save that. So we want to, now this needs to be separate. That just needs to be on the capsule there. So we're going to add an event on component begin overlap, and then right click again, add event on component end overlap. Sorry, I was thinking it was a dispatcher, but that's the health bar though. Don't need that one. Need the health bar view radius. So begin overlap and end overlap. And then from here, from the other actor, we're going to cast to BP third person character, because we're changing the view of the character. And we can duplicate that, connect that down here as well to the same thing, other actor, connect to the execute. And then we're going to get the health bar component. So get health bar, and we're going to set visibility. And we're going to connect that to the execute and go ahead and tick new visibility. And we're going to duplicate that, set visibility, untick it. And we're going to connect the health bar to the target. And we also want to set one of these so it's not visible right off the bat as well. So we're going to go up to our event begin play, I believe. Yeah, before we do our AI patrol, so we're going to move this out. We're going to go ahead and set the visibility on that to false. So that way it starts off as not visible. So and then once we get into range, then it becomes visible. And when we leave range, now it's no longer visible. And you can set up the range however you want to set up the range. 800 seems to be pretty decent range. All right, now that we got that done, we'll go ahead and set up the respawn for the AI character. Let's go ahead and save all that. That way, if we have any issues and accidentally get crashed, then it's saved already. So make sure you go ahead and save all. And we're going to do the respawn. We're going to do that, and we don't need our AI widget anymore. We're going to need our AI event graph. Basically right here at the begin play, that's what we're going to connect to the then to. And we're also going to need our game mode. So click on your content folder and search for game, and you should see BP third person game mode or whatever your game mode name is. We're going to want to open that up because we're going to add code in here as well, because we're going to call the respawn from the actual game mode. We want to create a custom event. We call this respawn AI. Something simple. We're going to create an input. This is going to be a character, and it's going to be a character reference. We're going to name this AI. From here, we're going to get class. From the execute, we're going to spawn actor from class, and we're going to set the class to the glass bin. And then we want to right click our spawn transform. We're going to promote that to a variable. We're going to name this AI respawn point. So this is what's going to set our respawn point. Alright, and then let's go ahead and go to our AI. And from our then to, we're going to cast to third person game mode. From object, we're going to get game mode. And then from our as BP third person game mode, we're going to set AI respawn point. And connect that to the execute. And from our AI respawn point, we're going to drag off and we're going to get actor transform. We're going to add in a delay. And then after that delay, we're going to go ahead and add in AI patrol. So call function AI patrol. So that way once it respawns, then it will actually start patrolling. Alright, so in our game mode, we also need to add a event dispatcher, and we're going to call this respawn enemy. And then we're going to call respawn enemy here. And we're going to connect that. No, we don't need to because it's already got a reference to self. So we can compile and save that there. And then, let's see. Should, I believe. Then we need to open up our third person character blueprint real quick. Alright, so we're going to update our event any damage. We can get rid of this comment now. And we can actually move this stuff back. And from here now we're going to clamp to float. Our return value is going to set our AI health. Min's going to be 0. Max is going to be 100. And we can get rid of this. Go ahead and move this out some. We're going to get our as WB AI health bar reference. We're going to set AI health. From our set AI health pin, we're going to drag to that. And then from our true, we're going to change our delay to 3 seconds. After our destroy actor, we're going to cast to third person game mode. From our object, we're going to get game mode. So what we're doing here is setting up the widget. So this is the health for the widget. We're going to set the delay a little bit longer before it does the respawn of the character, of the AI. So from here, we're going to respawn AI. We're going to connect the BP as BP third person game mode to the target. And the AI, we're going to set to self because we're in the AI blueprint. So we're going to use that as a self reference. Clean this up a little bit. And then we want to check, since we changed that, now we want to check if our AI health is equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, we will play our death animation and destroy the actor, and then it will check to respawn the AI. If it does not, it will play our hit montage. We'll go through the delay to the do once, reset, and go through again. So we can compile and save that. Go ahead and test that out. And now our health is decreasing, and character dies and respawns back in its original location. Alright, so there is something that I forgot to do. Let's go to our AI self. We're going to type in auto. And down here at pawn, you should see auto possess player and auto possesses AI. We want to change placed in world to placed in world or spawned. So now when we kill the AI, and it respawns, now it's going to patrol again. Yep. Alright, so that's working good. Let's see. So that should be it for our AI setup.
If you don't
Now we can close our AI, and let's go ahead and open up our third person character where we got all of our combat and stuff set up. You can change your damage if you want. I did change that to 10. It was 1, I believe. I'm going to change that to, let's do 5. Compile that, and then we're going to go ahead and set up our player to be able to be damaged, as well as our player's health and the UI for the player, and death and the respawn for the player. So first thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and set up our damage to the player. So we're going to right click and we're going to do event any damage. And we want to go ahead and create a variable. We're going to call this player health. We're going to set that to a float. Create another one. We're going to call it player max health. And then we're going to get our player health. And we're going to subtract that from the damage from the event any damage. And from that, we're going to clamp a float. And we're going to set our max value as our player max health. and compile that so we can set our player health. We're going to set that to 100. Our player max health, we're going to set that to 100. And we can compile and save that. Then we want to go ahead and set our player health. You can alt-click to do that, or alt and drag, and it'll set your player health, and we're going to connect that to our return value. And then we need to create our widget. So we're going to go to the UI folder. We're going to right-click, UI interface, widget blueprint. We're going to do WB player health bar. And we're basically going to set this up pretty close to how we set the other one up. So we're going to do canvas panel. We're going to get a progress bar. And we're going to anchor that down at the bottom this time, so the bottom center. Go ahead and reset our positions. Then we're going to drag this. So right now we're at size 100. Let's do 400. And we'll do 20 as well. And then that way we can set this to -200. And then we'll do -50 for the position. That way it's just a solid number. And then we're going to do our background image. Set that to red. Drop that down to a dark red. Then our fill image, our tint, we're going to set that to red. And then we're going to set our fill opacity to red as well. Actually set that to a little bit of a darker red. Let's give it a little bit of a different look for this one. Then we can grab our text. We're going to put our text on our canvas panel. We're going to anchor that down at the bottom center. Reset our positions. And we're going to set the text size to 10. Change our text block to 100. And we're just going to drag that to where it seems like it's kind of in the middle. That should be good. And we can compile and save that. And we're going to want to do the same thing that we did on the AI. For our percentage, we can do our text real quick. We'll go ahead and create a binding for that. Go back to our designer. And then click on our progress bar. Let's rename that to player health bar. And then we want to go to our progress percent. We're going to create a binding on that. This one's going to be just a little bit different. Since it's going to be for a third person character, we're going to cast to third person character. From the object, we're going to get player character. And then from as BP third person character, we're going to get player health. And we're going to get player max health. And we're going to divide those between each other. And that's going to set our return value. Compile that, and then double click on our get text. And that we can actually grab all of this. So the cast BP player, get player character, player health, and player max health. We can copy those. This one's going to be pretty similar as well. Except this one we're going to clamp, float, and connect our player max health to the bottom of the float. Clamp, float. And then we can actually open up our AI health bar, go to the graph on that one, get text, copy our text format, and we can paste that in right after our clamp float. Connect our clamp float, connect our return to the return node, and connect our executes. All right. We close our AI health bar, go back to our third person character. We're going to get, we need a health bar reference, I believe. So I think we need to go ahead and set up, we need to set up our begin play on our third person character. So we're going to add a sequence into our begin play to add our respawn as well as the health bar widgets. So right here, we're going to add a sequence in. Move this out. Go ahead and add another pin because we will need 3. Okay, so we need to create a widget from here. So create from our then one, create widget. And we're going to select our class. We're going to select our WB player health bar. And we're going to promote this to a variable. And we're going to call this player health bar ref. And we're going to add this to the viewport. All right, and then we need to create a health variable in our player blueprint, or our player widget blueprint, sorry. I'm just going to call it health. Or make that a float. Compile and save that. And then from our player health bar reference, we're going to set health. And it's going to be our player max health. And we're going to connect that. And we should be able to see, now we can see that. Now just to make sure it's functioning properly, now we're going to add in the rest of our damage here. So we need to get our player health bar reference. And we're going to set health. And then health is going to be player max health. And then from that, we're going to do a branch. And we're going to check if player's health is equal to 0. If that's true, we're going to do player. No, we need to create another custom event real quick. So right click, custom event, player. We're going to name this player death. And we'll come back to that. But if that's true, then we're going to call function player death. And then if that's false, we're actually going to grab, we can close our health bar. We're actually going to grab our AI. So open up our AI real quick. We're just going to grab this play Anna montage. And the delay. And we're going to paste that down here. And we're actually going to add a do once. Where should we add that? Yeah, we can add that right there. So do once, just like we have on the AI. Move that down. And that's going to get reset by this one. And add some reroute nodes. Move that out so it's a little bit cleaner. And we can compile and save that. And then let's go ahead and set up our death. Our death, we can just basically take this right here. From our AI. And we're going to go ahead and paste that here. And then from our destroy actor, we want to do a self reference for that. Probably should do that on the AI as well. Just be safe. We don't want any conflicting code and stuff. And then we're gonna respawn. Okay, so now after here is where we're gonna add our respawn in, but we need to add that to the third person game mode, just like we did the AI. The good thing about this is we can actually copy this portion too. We're going to do a custom event again. And it's going to be respawn player. Paste this in here. This one we're going to do an input. It's going to be our third person character, object reference, player characters, what I'm going to name that, and plug that to the get class. We may have to, yeah, let's go ahead and delete that, and then we're going to spawn actor from class, plug our class in, that'll give us our instigator. Now we're going to want to right click and promote our spawn transform to a variable again. We're going to call this player respawn point. And then from here, we're going to possesses And we're going to right click and get player controller. And we're going to connect that to the target, and our return value is going to go to the end pawn. So that when we respawn, it's going to spawn our actor, and the player respawn point, it's going to get our controller and possess the pawn. I got the wrong one. Let's see here. So from target, get player controller. No. It's not the right one. Get player. There we go. May need to untick context sensitive. We want the one that's got the player index so that it sets our player index to 0, because that's the player 0. Okay, so now we can compile and save that. And then we need to go ahead and add in our player respawn from our event begin play. So our BP third person character, we're going to go up here. Let's go ahead and comment this. Call this health bar widget. Change the color. And show bubble. Okay, so from our then to, we're going to cast to third person game mode. We're going to get game mode. And then we're going to set player respawn point. And it's going to get actor transform. Pretty much just like we set up the AI. We can compile and save that. Now we can go back down here to our death. And we're going to add in that respawn player. Respawn player. We're going to connect as BP third person game mode to the target, and player character is going to be a reference to self again. Now we also don't have a way to do damage yet, so we're going to set up just a debug key real quick. Now let's go ahead and comment this stuff first. So this is going to be player death. Bubble, change color, and damage player. Show bubble, change color. Alright, got that cleaned up. So let's go ahead, right click, debug key 1. It's just going to set this to our number 1 key. And we're just going to apply damage. Damage to actor is going to be a reference to self. Damage type is going to be damage type. And we're just going to do 20 damage. We just want to make sure that this is working correctly. So let's go ahead and save everything. Make sure everything gets saved. Going to go ahead and play. Press 1. Looks like we're getting hit. Health is going down. We die. And we respawn after 3 seconds. Let's test it again just to make sure. Doing damage. We're getting hit. We respawn and can move around again. All right. So let's just comment this. I'm going to call this debug. And I'm going to leave that as white. So now we are set up with damage to the player, player death, players respawning, AI takes damage, AI death, AI respawns, health bars are working correctly for AI and player. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, you can ask those in the Discord. I appreciate all the support. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.